Salutations. Welcome to Podcast. I am your host, Lily Abernathy. I want to start by saying shout out Sumo Dog and Azure Dreams for the PS1. This episode is a special request by friend of the show Drew Huntley. You may have seen Drew on such appearances as the Crowder Boys and Corn-Fed with Dalton Lee Pruitt featuring Sal Michael and formerly Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, where's that wild boy been? He was popping up occasionally there every now and then for a minute in the chat. And while we are on the topic of the Billionaire Podcast Network, this is the week, folks. This Wednesday, Arena of Ideas number 3. I'm hyped. We all knew Broke Degen was a bit out of left field, but that Arena of Ideas number 2 appearance was just top-tier content. Again, if you haven't seen it, then go check it out before Wednesday on their YouTube channel. This week is Broke Degen versus PJ Part 2. This week's outro is a special promo I made for the event, so make sure to stick around to the end to check it out. Before we get into the main topic, let's get to some comedy news for the week. It looks like Rogan's podcast is still beyond boring. Jake Flores is still homeless. Andrew Schultz is continuing his beef with K. Dot, and it seems that Tyler the Creator has jumped into the arena as well, siding with Kendrick. Tyler said something along the lines of people with podcasts need to have their mics taken away. Ever since Odd Future ended, dude has gotten lamer by the year, honestly. His music is touted as smart and intelligent, but it's mostly just been trash since Odd Future ended. It's overproduced, but not in a way most people are used to. It's music for a certain type of white guy at this point. I still with Earl, though. Dude rules. Ivy Wolk made an appearance on the podcast Lemon Party this week, and Mike Racine is continuing his fallout from almost getting sued. If you haven't checked out the Out for Smokes podcast recently, there was a bit of a controversy that ended with 2 of the co-hosts leaving. In an attempt to continue the podcast, Mike has had everyone from Mexican day laborers to escorts to Ivy Wolk on the podcast. I like Mike. Check out his pod. All right, I think that about covers it for this week's comedy news. Let's get to the main topic, the Bad B of Comedy Part 4, Esther King, formerly Povitsky. Like the other women in this series so far, I have also interacted with Esther. I met Esther one of my first visits to the Comedy Store. More so than the other subjects in the series, I would say we actually have a friendship despite me basically ghosting the comedy community altogether. Esther is one of the more unique women, and in general people in comedy, she might be one of the only Jews I can stand to be around for more than 5 minutes. She is a true workhorse, and I think is a bit underrated for her credits. But Esther's career has always seemed on a steady path upwards. I may get some of the timing wrong on the information, but it isn't like any of you actually know this anyway, so who gives a f***? And oh my god, episode 28. You people are still listening to this retarded Genuinely thank you though. I have no idea what I'm doing. But every so often I check the numbers, and it's just wild that that many people listen to this. I mean, we're in every continent apart from Antarctica, so Esther King, formerly Povitsky, also known as Little Esther. A half-Jewish, half-Catholic wildcard from Skokie, Illinois, Esther for sure looks younger than she is, always has, and probably always will. When she first started at the Comedy Store, she was doing this thing where she would pretend to be underage to f*** with men in the audience. It was pretty funny, but also a bit f*** up some of the times. She has dated both Brian Redban and the Roastmaster Jr. himself, Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't really feel like finding the clips, so just right, but I'm pretty sure she's admitted on camera that both of these relationships were mistakes. She was also good friends with the late Brody Stevens, who may have been one of the nicest but most f***ed up mentally people I have ever met. During Redban's Death Squad podcast heyday, Esther and Brody actually did a podcast titled Bro, D and Esther. I think Esther may have been the first female guest ever on the Joe Rogan Experience as well.
They're sober, but they're pretending to be drunk so they can
Yeah.
Okay, they're balling. That's when you're out of control. When people are pretending they need an excuse to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what's going on. Speaking of excuses to you. This show is sponsored by the Fleshlight, ladies and gentlemen.
Fleshlight.
And if you go to joerogan.net and you click on the link, it'll take you to the Fleshlight website, and they give you 15% off.
What's a fleshlight?
A fleshlight this one is an alien version. By the way, our guest is Little Esther.
Hello.
And Esther is a very funny stand-up comedian here in Los Angeles, California. And she's our first female guest ever, ladies and gentlemen. So how about a round of applause?
50th episode.
Yeah,
also.
This is our 50th episode, and we just never found a girl worthy. But you're here. They're all worthy. They just don't want to come over. And and not only that, it's my house, so I can't bring porn stars over. Everybody's like, you should have porn stars on.
Ew.
I don't. Well, you.
Around this time, Esther also had a solo podcast titled Weird Adults with Little Esther that really showcased how her awkwardness is a superpower. Following that podcast, Esther had Glowing Up, a beauty and lifestyle-themed podcast, co-hosted with Caroline Goldfarb. She also had a short-lived podcast with fellow Jewish cohort Rick, titled Rick and Esther Have a Time. Her next solo podcast, My Pleasure, formerly Esther Club, was a guide to the hot girl lifestyle. Her current podcast is Trash Tuesday, co-hosted by Bobby Lee's ex-girlfriend Kalala Lala Kuhn and formerly Annie Liederman.
Of spirituality and religion, and is there a way for me to sort of see the goodness in it without relating it back to like my horrible upbringing? And to give you an example, my uncle was in the Philippines during like a Holy Week. They crucify real people too.
I can't handle this one.
Esther hates this story. But in the Philippines during Holy Week, they pick people in their community.
They don't actually put a nail through their hands.
They crucify.
They put a nail through their actual hands?
Yeah.
They don't just like tie them to a cross?
No, some they tie, some they actually crucify. And
Oy,
it's
oy,
like
oy.
it's a reenactment of Jesus and the whole thing. My uncle was that guy every year who got crucified, but he is also a murderer. So he also killed his brother in broad daylight and like severed his spinal cord with a machete.
You have to tell this to Dwight Schrute.
What camera should I be looking at right now? I'm just going to be looking deadpan at the camera. Go ahead.
He has since been released
this.
from prison.
Okay.
I send him money every month because he has a family to support. It's
You
a whole
send
thing.
your murderer
Yes, I do. We have
uncle
a great
money
relationship. I know.
every month, and he was crucified.
He was crucified. He was also Jesus, so.
Yeah. Does he have scars on his hands from where
He does, yeah.
Yeah. Does he have? Okay.
We have some opinions on Kalalalalala, but we will save that for a separate episode. Esther is also a proficient stand-up comedian. Her first special Hot for My Name came out in 2020, and I was actually present for the taping. The special includes a blend of the live performance along with documentary footage of her family intercut.
So the reason we're in this is because you want to show people why you're so neurotic.
I look like your babysitter
You were never had the lead.
because I look nice, but not quite hot enough to ruin a marriage.
Well, I didn't say I was neurotic.
Do I look fat in it? Yes or no? Oh my God, I don't want to my dad. That's disgusting. He's 75 and he's broke. I wish I could read. I try to read. I open books and then I black out and I'm on Instagram and I don't know what happened.
We used to call her Rosemary's baby.
Having sex with me is a little bit like having sex with a slice of pizza, because I just lie there. And you can blot the grease off with a napkin.
Mom just told me that I wasn't gonna be able to have a baby.
The guy I'm with, he won't let me call him daddy in bed.
What?
That's my daughter.
He says it's because he's not a pedophile. I know, I don't believe him either.
Apart from stand-up, Esther also has a number of acting and writing credits. She has a number of small roles on shows like New Girl, Parks and Rec, Key and Peele, Workaholics, and Love. She also had a recurring role on the series Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She wrote and starred in her own series Alone Together with fellow comedian and currently on the run for killing that CEO this past week.
Chops, you even sound like a couple.
What if I kiss you right now? Then will you believe that we're not a couple?
Okay, fine. But he has to watch. Then I'll know for sure.
That's pretty weird. I
Fine.
don't think I'm comfortable with that.
That's a good idea.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Fine.
Then you'll give me the
Yeah.
Let's do this.
And so what, I just sit here while you relearn what her breath is like? Is that what we're doing? Okay. A person with dignity probably would have left by now, but I think it's pretty clear by today's events that I'm not a person with dignity. Can't even return shrimp to a waiter who brings me shrimp when I didn't want it, didn't order it. You know who does shrimp right? The Cheesecake Factory. They remove the tails for you, you know? And they put in chicken and shrimp. Some places won't combine chicken and shrimp, and that's the protein I'm looking for. Fun animal fact, flamingos are actually gray when they're born. So a baby flamingo is gray, and then they turn pink eventually from all the shrimp they eat. I wonder if they have issues with the tail.
Okay, fine. You guys aren't a couple. Go get your...
The show also includes a number of appearances from known predator Chris D'Elia as well. Esther was also a part of a series on Hulu with Brenda Song, Kat Dennings, and Shay Mitchell titled Dollface. My panties are wet right now. She was also a main writer on the iCarly reboot for Paramount. She also wrote and starred in her own film titled Drugstore June, which I must say is 100% an Esther vibe.
What's up? Welcome to Puffers. Interested in any of our pre-rolls?
Pre-rolls, is that like a buttered cinnamon thing?
We don't have cinnamon, but we do have blueberry and sour apple.
Can I ask you, do you feel safe here?
Yeah, they cool. That's Gary, the owner.
Okay.
What's up? What you need?
I'm looking for someone or something.
We got flour, oil, edibles.
Oh, no, actually, this guy across the street told me you might be the right person to get the hot gossip from.
Which told you that?
I'll never reveal my sources, but it was Crawford.
Of course he did. And he begged you to follow him too, right?
He did. It was cringe.
Wait, who are you?
Sorry. Hi. I'm June. It's really nice to meet you.
June, what's up? I'm Jenny.
So, Jenny, do you know anything about a pharmacy robbery here in town? And I'm cool. I'm not like the cops.
I don't know about cool, but you shady. I f with it. Y'all heard anything about a pharmacy getting robbed?
The film is also actually watchable, unlike some other Greek fat comedian's film who will remain unnamed. It's Stavros. Should I do an episode of Drugstore June versus Let's Start a Cult? Who's down? Slide into the comments, Playboys. As if Esther isn't enough of a powerhouse in the entertainment industry, I have to give her flowers for one more thing. If there is one thing I absolutely despise about comedians, it's their merch game. That is usually beyond trash. They do drop shipping and all this gay that if they took like a bit of time would not only profit more, actually put out a good product, but we all know how lazy comedians are. Well, not Esther. She took her merch game to the next level, Sleep Over by Esther. While I'm not sure it's still operating, she basically had a supreme quality operation going on. Literally, the best quality material made by people working at a living wage for an affordable price. I know clothes, and this was quality. Now, I'm not too sure what else to say about Esther. The point of this series isn't to shit on people. I mean, she totally comes off as an annoying Jewish sister sometimes, but she is also incredibly funny. She is also a talented writer and not a bad actor. Honestly, as far as comedians who are also actors go, she's probably towards the top of the list. She recently had a child with her partner, Dave King, who has written and even made appearances in a number of sitcoms you are familiar with, like Last Call with Carson Daly, Frank TV, Workaholics, Parks and Recs, Love, and The English Teacher, which also features Ivy Walk. Do I like Ivy? I'm not sure. I'm still deciding. Anyway, we wish our pal Esther the best, and please go check out her stuff. For all of you who play Fortnite, I want to say that OG sucks, and you'll need to stop riding these old maps. Tomorrow is Saturday, so my Fortnite username will be allowed to be changed back to Lily Abernathy, with no spaces. I once again want to thank everyone that listens. I checked the numbers again, and someone in Japan, Israel, and the Netherlands also seem to be big listeners of the show. As mentioned before, this week's outro is a promo for this week's upcoming Crowder Boys episode, The Arena of Ideas number 3. If you have any suggestions of topics for the podcast you want to see covered, feel free to drop a comment or slide into my DMs. Please like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Follow us at Podcast the Pod on YouTube and X, formerly Twitter. This is Lily Abernathy signing off.
The Arena of Ideas. Minds may be proven. Fight.
Because he ain't for real.
He's going in the corner like into Blair Witch.
Is that where you're?
Hey, dude, I'm gonna find you. I swear to God, I'm gonna beat you with a silencer. I have silencers. I'm gonna find you and shoot you in the back of the head with a silenced pistol. I swear on my grandmother's life, I'm gonna shoot you in the back of the head with a silenced pistol.
And then what?
And take them off.
Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that.
With a silenced pistol.
Are we streaming incriminating evidence right now?
Dejin, we're sorry, okay?
We're gonna get booted from YouTube.
What the
I actually got a call from my lawyer just now. He said you're too gay to be on this stream. So bye-bye. Bye-bye.